in China is testing 9 million residents. That's all of them, and they say they'll do it in just 5 days. That's because of 12 new cases, the first locally transmitted cases for China in nearly 2 months, and officials are hoping mass testing will prevent further outbreaks. NBC News foreign correspondent Janice Mackey-Frayer joins me now from Beijing. Janice, we think of what China was dealing with earlier this year, and now their concern is just 12 new cases. Tell us more about this cluster.
Savannah, the number does seem small when compared to other places in the world that are having hundreds, sometimes thousands of cases recorded every day. Here, they're less focused on the number than the trend, and they want to ensure that they stop the virus from spreading. In Qingdao, they're not imposing strict lockdowns or putting restrictions in place like they were in other places, like in Wuhan, in Urumqi, even here in Beijing back in June. What they want to try to do is contain it to this one area. They say the 12 cases are in one hospital, so they feel like the risk of spread into the community is actually a bit lower. This is what has been key to China's strategy throughout these outbreaks, this idea of mass testing, of having a command structure in place and being able to quickly scale up resources and equipment.
Now, 9 million people in just 5 days. How are they going to get that done?
Yeah, that's roughly equivalent to the population of New York. They're saying they're going to get it done in 5 days. Well, first of all, they're not giving people much choice. People are expected to comply. When they did the mass testing here in Beijing back in June, at my apartment complex, let's say, they tell you to show up at a certain testing site on a certain day at a certain time, and you'll line up behind the person who's your representative, and everything is organized right down to your name on the test tube. They also do something here called pool or batch testing. So what they do, they have the swabs from 5 or 10 people that they stick into one test tube. And if one of those swabs turns out to be positive, then they get that batch of people back and retest them in order to narrow it down.
Now, Janice, it was just recently Golden Week in China, this national holiday. Over 600 million people traveled for that holiday. What were the celebrations like this year? What is life like now for people living there? I think we remember lots of images of, empty train stations and everything coming out at the beginning of this. But to think of that many people traveling now, what's it been like?
It went from abandoned streets in so many cities to tourist sites that were absolutely packed. A lot of people are still wearing masks, but there was certainly not a lot of social distancing at play. Over 500 million people traveled domestically, and that's what they were encouraged to do. They were told to get out, to travel around, to take trains, to take planes, to take precautions, of course, but to get out and start to spend in order to boost the economy. The problem, of course, is that it's now raising some concerns that perhaps all of these people traveling opened up some new transmission routes for the virus.
All right, Janice, thanks so much.
There's another